Good evening and welcome. Thank you for joining us. This is the Thursday, February 5th, 2026 City Council meeting for the City of Marion. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which is one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. Roll call, please.
Mr. Bissaman,
Here.
Mr. Uniman,
Here.
Mr. Jensen,
Here.
Mayor Abou-Wasili,
Present.
Mr. Brandt, Ms. Spencer, Mr. Harper.
Here. Thank you. Before we proceed, I would like to acknowledge the tragic incident that occurred in our community on Wednesday morning. Moments like this remind us of the difficult nature of public service. And this is a very difficult time, certainly for those who are directly impacted, as well as our city organization and our entire community. The loss of life is tragic, and it's not taken lightly. We mourn the deceased and we extend our compassion to their loved ones and all who have been impacted by this event, including our public safety professionals. Please join me in a moment of silence. Okay, thank you. We do have two proclamations this evening. The first is a proclamation for Love Your Library Month. And we have representatives from our library to accept that, and I've asked Councilmember Skinner to read it. So please come forward.
Yes, please don't let me be one up here. Whereas libraries connect people, resources, and culture to build and sustain a diverse, knowledgeable, and vibrant community. And whereas in a world undergoing constant change, libraries provide connections to the past and future of our communities, nations, and civilizations. And whereas the expansion of electronic networks links libraries together, makes their resources more easily accessible for library users around the world. And whereas libraries provide equal access to important resources for all people, including resources relating to technology, health, economics, housing, the environment, and countless other areas to support better living conditions and help people lead longer, more productive, fulfilling lives. And whereas the Marion Public Library offers story times, teen programming, and summer reading programs to encourage children to build habits of lifelong reading and learning that will benefit their personal and professional lives. And whereas the Marion Public Library offers basic literacy programs, computers and technology, job searching capabilities, and other resources to increase opportunities, community residents, and support businesses and economic development. And whereas the Marion Public Library engages Marion residents of all ages with services, spaces, and resources to enrich their lives and the life of our community. And whereas the Marion Public Library creates a welcoming environment for everyone to celebrate the joy of literacy, learning, creating, communicating, and cultural exchange, and is a place where community happens. Now therefore, I, Gage Musliman, on behalf of Nicholas Abou-Wasili, Mayor of the City of Marion, do hereby proclaim February 2026 as Love Your Library, and encourage all residents to visit our library and thank a librarian for their commitment to the success of this unique and wonderful institution. Does anybody like to say anything?
No. Thank you, Mayor and members of council, for this proclamation and for recognizing Love Your Library Month.
Libraries are more than just a physical space. They are community hubs where people connect, learn, and feel welcome, whether that's inside our building or through our bookmobile out in the community. The Marion Public Library is proud to support lifelong learning, provide access to information and technology, and create spaces where our community can come together. This recognition belongs to our staff, our partners, and especially our patrons who make the library what it is. We are grateful for the continued support of our community and look forward to serving Marion for many years to come. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, and we certainly appreciate all the work our library staff does to help us serve our community. The library is at the forefront of how we touch lots of lives and impact them in very meaningful ways, and certainly appreciate our staff there. We're very committed to that mission. A number of years ago, I coined the phrase that the library is where community happens. And I think they prove that every day. Our second proclamation is for Black History Month, and I've asked Councilmember Uniman to read that. I don't believe we have anybody here to accept it from the Civil Rights Commission, but please go ahead and make the proclamation known.
Whereas during Black History Month, we recognize and celebrate the many important achievements and contributions made by African Americans to our nation's economic, cultural, and political development. And whereas Black History Month grew out of the establishment of Negro History Week in 1926 by Arthur G. Woodson and the Association for the Study of African American Life and History. And whereas the observation of Black History Month is an opportunity for Marion residents to reflect on the value of all people, add to our diverse community, and the need to continue our effort to stand up to racism and work actively to build a true, equitable, and just society for all people. And whereas the city of Marion strives to become a welcoming and inclusive community in which all residents are valued and given the opportunity to belong, achieve their goals, and make positive contributions. And whereas the city of Marion is proud to honor the history and the contribution of African Americans in our city and throughout our state and nation. And whereas the 2026 national theme for the observance of Black History Month is the Century of Black History Commemoration in honor of the 100 years since the first National Black History Celebration began in 1926. And whereas this year's themes honor the legacy and struggle and achievement of African Americans throughout the nation's history, and now therefore in recognition of the rich history of African Americans and the contribution of African Americans, past, present, and future, I, Kelvin Uniman, on behalf of Mayor Nicholas Abalasi, Mayor of the City of Marion, I will do hereby proclaim February 2026 as Black History Month in the City of Marion and encourage all residents to celebrate diversity as an asset, diversity as an asset, and celebrate diversity as an asset and to Marion and seek our educational opportunity of history and contribution of African Americans. Thank you very much. I'll be accepting this on behalf of the commission. Thank you.
Next item is our first public forum. We have two public forums on the agenda. The first one is for matters that are on the agenda but not associated with the public hearing. If anyone is here to address the council on an item that is associated with the public hearing, there will be time during the public hearing to make comments. And if anyone is here to address council on an item that is not on the agenda, those comments will be taken at the end of the meeting during the second public comment period. Before we proceed, I'd like to review the rules and procedure for public comments.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I apologize, but I wear hearing aids, and with a high ceiling like this, what I get mostly is an echo. So, are you saying we're on regular agenda now?
We are on the public forum.
Okay, I
Section.
saw.
Okay. That's no problem. Okay. At this point, I'm reviewing the rules for making public comments. If anyone's here to address the council on any item, please fill out the yellow card that is on the table in the back and hand it to the clerk before speaking. Once you're called forward, please step up to the microphone and speak into the microphone as the meeting is recorded. Please do not approach the dais where the council is sitting. If you have any handouts or materials to give to the city council, please give those to the clerk and she will hand them to the council. All persons wishing to speak in the public forum will be provided a maximum of 5 minutes to speak. Please avoid engaging in any conduct or speech that is imminently threatening to any person or which incites violence or which is obscene. Please avoid repeating comments or points that have been previously shared. Speakers and people attending the meeting should not engage in conduct that disrupts the orderly progress of the meeting or engage in speech or conduct which interferes with other people's ability to participate in the meeting. Please do not make disparaging remarks regarding any individual person, but keep your comments pertinent to the topic at hand. Failure to adhere to these guidelines or engage in any disruptive speech or behavior will, after a warning, result in removal from the meeting. We appreciate everyone's cooperation in adhering to these rules and procedure. We'll now open the first public forum, which is, again, the time to address council on any topic that is listed on the agenda but not part of a public hearing. If anyone is here to address council, please come forward.
You have been heard already.
Please state your name and address. Would you mind, yeah.
Moving it around.
Mike, there you go. Thank you so much.
All right, is this good?
Yes, that's perfect. Thank you.
All right,
Well,
I'm Laura Gedemy. I live on 1401 11th Street, so I just wanted to comment on that brick preservation policy. The roads of 14th Avenue, 11th Street, really all the brick streets in the area are not maintained. Even the repairs create new bumps, and it's gone from historic to disrepair a while ago, so I approve of the plan to salvage the bricks that can be salvaged from most of the streets and focus on a smaller area to keep that historic character. But hopefully get moving on getting us proper modern roads sooner rather than later.
okay. Thank you for your comments. And if you are here at the end of the meeting, I'm sure someone of the staff will be happy to share with you what the timeline for those for that project is.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else to address council, please come forward. This is again regarding any topic that is on the agenda but not part of a public hearing. Welcome.
Yeah, welcome, Mayor and members of the council. I represent Waste Not Iowa, which is a group that is an organization of the community members. When we submitted a letter to the council, and we wrote it on Groundhog Day, and so it just seemed an awful lot like it was Groundhog again, because there was all kinds of many of the same issues that were around since since this all came up, and the site one was, or site two became the landfill. But basically the waste agency, after at least 2 attempts to site a landfill to replace site one, picked the area north of Marion for the primary landfill for the area which is in the areas in the north direction of growth of Marion, and is the north front door of Marion. But the new landfill was imposed on the city. There were lawsuits and counter lawsuits that resulted in a remediation process and a settlement agreement signed in December of 2005 in good faith by the Waste Agency, Lynn County, and the City of Marion. I was appointed to the city mediation team due to my membership on the Linn-Mar School Board at the time, which was also concerned with the landfill's location. Waste Not Iowa, based on its past experience, would inform the current city council to approach the first step of the process using this memorandum of agreement that could expand the landfill, and we approach it with caution. That MOU only sets up a working group to organize the new governance. The acceptance of its work does, however, initiate a 450 acceptance of that would initiate a 450-foot expansion to the south. We think the change in government with the expanded representation is needed. And we worry that Marion, who has lived up to the settlement agreement, may not be assured that significant progress would be made by a new agency, which may continue to ask to expand the landfill. It seems the current waste agency's primary goal is to extend the life of the landfill, as stated by one of its leaders and working group member in a recent Gazette article, where it said, "It is important for us to work as hard as we can to extend the life of the landfill as long as we can," quote unquote. The settlement agreement makes no reference to a date for the life of the landfill. It only mentions the capacity limit, which is defined area, which includes a setback from Artesian Road to the south from Highway 13 and the height of the landfill. When capacity is reached, the landfill would be capped and alternatives would be implemented. A waste to energy solution would be the preference of Waste Not Iowa. As stated in the agreement, the agency will aggressively support the waste diversion and use of alternate waste disposal technologies, quote unquote, before the life of the landfill is reached. This has not happened. Iowa code also encourages this. This is the second, if not third time that's been asked. They've asked for an expansion. One of the latest was in 2021, and they requested an expansion, and the council said no at that time. And it begun, the main plan seems to be that you need a time of urgency or crisis in order to come and ask for an addition to the landfill, instead of actually doing something that solves the issue. And we think that, however, we expect the MOU passes, but however, the working group should somehow make some kind of risk mitigation an important part of the charter of the new waste agency's government. Of course, money is always a key consideration, but delaying or only compounds the costs of the solution. So we've been watching this for about 20 years. And other than some cursory activities, there's really been no urgency to put significant actions in place for
30 seconds remaining.
when the capacity is filled. Our group is always willing to help as we can, and we think it's time to quit burying energy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else to address council? John, this would be the right time. John, this is the time when you can make your comments. Okay.
Leon Towson,
Welcome.
1975 31st Street. Hey, I had a concern about the brick preservation program. Addressed to this council prior one, cost is a big concern. There was the expansion of 7th Avenue extending, and there was, there was presented some options telling them, well, with or without brick. And the brick option was quite more costly. This council decided in that prior council that they were not going to accept the extra additional cost for brick. And so my concern is that, with the brick preservation policy, surveys are great, but if we add cost to that survey, saying with, if we're gonna save the brick and use it here, it's gonna have a cost of X amount. If part of the surveys that are governing the direction of, where we are going in Marion. If cost is there, my concern is that maybe the survey results may be different. And so my concern is that as we go forward, with the brick preservation policy, let us know what the cost is. And put that in future surveys so that, that can be represented also. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else address council on any topic that is part of the agenda but not associated with the public hearing? Yes, sir.
Your Honor.
Welcome here.
I'm sorry, John Nealon, 1390 48th Street, Marion. Your Honor, members of the city council and staff, especially the guy with a gun on his hip. I'm glad to be here. Look, I hope that you'll give me, I may go more than just 5 minutes. I'll do the best I can not to. I would like to, the problem that I have is the same kind of problem that I had when I came before the council after I retired as mayor in 2007. I came before the city council twice, once because I was extremely mad and upset at the city manager, and then again when the waste thing came up. And I think we did the right thing. You turned them down after looking at the contract that we had, which I negotiated with the, at that time was called Bluestem, but which is now called the Waste Management Organization, but it's the same people, and it's the same people on that council now. Basically, Cedar Rapids, they control it. And when I, Thursday or Friday of last week, my wife brought to my attention that this was going to come up. So the thing I did was come in Monday because I wanted to talk to you at your work session, but I had a medical emergency and could not attend, and I apologize. But I appreciate the city manager who gave me 20 minutes or 30 minutes to explain to me basically what your plan is. And what you're doing now is voting so that you can send something to the waste managed people and say, do these things, and we will assent to you agreement, which you could use up to go to Artesian Road, basically. And what have they done since our first agreement, which was 20 years ago? 20 years, they haven't done anything. I had spoken to the manager of the waste management area, not the members of the agenda people. I apologize, I'm 86 and I have a tendency with words, they come all the way up to here and then they stop. But anyway, I talked with her and she said that she had gone out and she was looking for land and she couldn't find land, and she couldn't, when she went to anywhere else that it was in reference to the expense to do something that would be permanent, it was too expensive. So for 20 years, they didn't do anything, and then they finally came to the city of Marion and say, we're on hands and knees, what will you do for us? And in the meantime, they went another, I got it written down, 5 to 7 years, and then has come to the city again and said, we haven't got anything done and we can't do anything and we need to expand. And I'm saying, why do we want to do anything with it under any circumstance? I say, we not only don't take this to them, we say, it's your problem. We have given you 25 years to solve it, and all of you have done is kick the can down the road. And they want to kick the can down the road again, and come to Marion on their knees and say, please, what are we gonna do? And what happened last time, they went to court, we went to court, and because we didn't have an agreement, the judge basically said, is this about trash? And we said, yes, and he said, I'm sorry, I can't get the word of it, basically, get out. Not my problem, we're not gonna get involved. Okay, that's because we didn't have anything to lean on. Well, we do now. And it is the responsibility of that Blue Stem organization to do something. And the other thing right now, and it happened before, when I was there, I have no, I really don't have a leg to stand on when I asked this, but did anybody at that time, any citizens at that time really know what the city was involved in or going on? There was a lot of news and a lot of stuff in the paper prior to that event. But you could still walk down the city of Marion and say, do you know what's going on? And they go, huh? Pick up my trash, all I'm worried about is pick the trash up, but that's what most people are worried about. Just pick up the trash and I'll be very happy. This time, we are committing, if you do this, no matter what you do or what agreement you come up with, the city of Marion is committing our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren to a situation where they're gonna come back and say, golly, it's too expensive to take the trash to Illinois, because that's what their alternative is. And it's too expensive to come up with a real solution. I know you want to get rid of me, but.
Well, I don't wanna get rid of you, but we have to be fair to everyone and we can allow 5 minutes, so we have to be fair. So, and if you can just wrap it up. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I would like to see our city council members to contact their constituents. Have a meeting. When I say contact them, send them a letter, give them a personal phone call, whatever. But get them involved before you do anything. Because they don't know what's going on. They don't know what the city is committed to. And of course, everybody here and here will be gone by the time 2036 comes around. And of course, the people on the present board will be gone also. So let's kick the can down the road. I'm sorry, Mayor. I guess you can get the cop up and I'll have to leave, but this is important.
We understand.
Okay.
Thank you.
We don't have any local news now. We don't have a newspaper. However, you came together Tuesday and on Monday, here's the headline, or excuse me, on Wednesday, here's the headline. It gives an idea, it gives the citizens idea that it's already done. But how many people take the newspaper beside myself? 5%, 10%? That's what I mean about it. People go, and it was on television and they explained it wrong. Is that not correct? They weren't. Okay, I'm talking about different citizens. I'm a citizen. These people are citizens. And what do they know? Nothing. And I think it's unfair to them.
We appreciate it.
I think that the
Thank
city
you for your
council,
comments. Thank you.
I think the city council should make a trip to Minnesota.
Okay,
Look at their, find out how much it costs. Mostly, I think the city council consider that trash never goes away. Okay, so I don't think, it's not a public, it's not our, it is not a city or county problem, it is a state or nation problem. We ought to be going to the state and say, we need a permanent solution. You need to investigate it, find out what the cost is, find out what the problems they have, so you have something to really go to this committee in order to make a decision. I think they're making the wrong decision by even considering
I
this.
understand.
You have what, 8 years or 7 years before you have to do anything? I say it's their problem, it's not ours, and I understand, Mayor,
Thank you for
you
your.
know, and that's why you didn't want me to come yesterday, and I couldn't come.
Let me explain that Tuesday, we don't take public comments at our Tuesday.
I know you don't take public comments, I look like I'm
So
not.
you were asked to. you were asked to
I do
speak.
not consider myself to be, quote, a public person, once I wrote that agreement. And I was very involved in it, and Albie did, at 86, Albie did, and we're leaving it to all the citizens to take this.
Sir, I'm trying to be very respectful of you, and please adhere to our guidelines. Thank you. We understand your point. We got it. Thank you.
No.
Thank you.
Well, we'll see.
Anyone else to address the council, please come forward. Again, I will ask everyone addressing council to remain respectful and to not be disparaging to any individual and to respect the time limit. Thank you.
My name is Bill Copper. I live at 1055 Edwin Drive in Marion. The 200-acre Copper family farm lies in the shadow of what now is a 54-year-old mountain of trash bordering on the west side of what I will call the Cedar Rapids landfill located in North Marion. Our farm's ownership is now involved in its fourth generation since this dump started in 1972. I'm a former Marion home builder and developer who managed the development arm of our family business, Copper Properties LLC, alongside my late father, Bob Copper. Bob and his brother, Jim, were involved in the development of much of South Marion for over 50 years. And it is with great displeasure that I again feel I have to speak on this issue of the landfill, as I did many times during the last multi-year expansion battle between Cedar Rapids and Marion starting in '03. This expansion battle was of broken promises, misrepresentations, public meetings, manipulated CSR ratings, rezonings, changing land use plans, disputed land use designations, voluntary and involuntary annexations, 8 or 9 other lawsuits, denied benefits, and conflict of interest. This was a forced land grab by Cedar Rapids to dump their never-ending trash flow on their neighbor Marion. This landfill had been promised to close twice. Then an abrupt settlement in 2005 that couldn't have been more poorly negotiated for Marion than anything else the residents could imagine. Now in 2026, Cedar Rapids is again crying for expansion. That Marion needs to open its land and let Cedar Rapids dump another decade of trash into this landfill. I spoke of the conflicts of interest as a solid waste agency is made up of 9 members, 1 Marion representative, 6 Cedar Rapids council or office holders, and 2 Lynn County supervisors. This terrible conflict of interest could have been corrected at any time in the spirit of collaboration, but never was over the last 23 years. The mayor of Cedar Rapids now claims that managing solid waste is regional responsibility to be shared. Sounds like what the city of Marion and its residents and the affected landowners have been saying for the last 23 years. The Marion representatives on the board have made suggestions over the years warning that once again this day of full capacity will come. They have over the years expressed their frustrations as they are ignored and their suggestions are stopped. It's my suggestion to this council that delay or table this vote on the amendment due to the lack of public input. You are not letting Marion residents voice their opinions with this story breaking in the Gazette on Saturday, a work session on Tuesday, a vote on Thursday. This turnaround is unheard of, and Marion residents deserve better.
Thank you. Anyone else address council, please come forward. Seeing that no one is coming forward, we will close this part of the meeting. Proceed to the consent agenda.
Mayor, I move to approve the consent agenda. This will include items A1 through D9, resolution numbers 32712 through 32721. Second.
So moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda as presented, including items A1 through D9, resolutions 32712 through 32721. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda as presented, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. The motion is approved. I do want to go back and ask to get on the record any comments received for the public forum outside the meeting.
No additional comments were received.
Okay. Let's note that for the record, please. To the next section, I'll turn over the meeting to the mayor pro tem.
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem, I move to approve items C1 through D1, resolution 32722 through 32723.
Second. There's a motion and a second to approve resolution numbers 32722 and 32723. Are there any comments or discussion regarding these two items? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries with the mayor's abstention, and I'll move the meeting back to the mayor.
Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 32724, approving a memorandum of understanding regarding the Cedar Rapids County Solid Waste Agency that establishes specific conditions and requirements that must be met before the city of Marion will consider a limited expansion of the landfill located at 1954 County Home Road.
Second.
So moved and seconded to approve resolution number 32724, approving the memorandum of understanding regarding the Cedar Rapids County Solid Waste Agency that establishes specific conditions and requirements that must be met for the city of Marion to consider a limited expansion of the landfill. Discussion.
Your Honor, were there comments?
Yes.
I first, as part of consideration of this resolution, I want to acknowledge the substantive comments that were made here during the public forum. Those comments that were provided are important for our consideration, but I do want to have the opportunity to just clarify a couple of things. And in this resolution, it says that this memorandum of understanding sets the stage for some requirements that need to be adhered to before we would consider a limited expansion of the landfill. Now, it was stated that that expansion would go to our Artesian Road. That is not the case. It would be a limited expansion, reducing the setback from Artesian Road, which is 1,800 feet. It would reduce that by 450. So there will remain a substantial separation between Artesian Road and the setback, the operational setback of the landfill. But keeping in mind, none of that gets considered by this body until other requirements are set forth. And so what are those? This MOU that is before us this evening is to first and foremost establish a working group to review and fundamentally revise the governance structure under which the landfill is operating. Now, it had been commented on that not much has happened since 2005. Well, there is an urgency now. And part of the emphasis of this working group is to define the governance parameters that include an urgency for consideration, not only of here and now near-term operations, but also the serious review and potential implementation of alternate technologies, more broad-based regional cooperation, and other actions that reduce the impact on the landfill as it is currently situated. So I want to be clear for the record. This MOU establishes a working group that has defined accountabilities to set forth a revised operating structure, governance structure that has the focus to achieve, in essence, what was put in place by the settlement agreement in 2005 and 2006. So I wanted to be on the record that that is the case. Nothing else is getting decided except getting a working group established to endeavor with the focus that I have stated a couple of times. Thank you, Ron.
Mr. Councilman,
Anyone else? Sir, you've already made your comments. We can talk after the meeting. Anyone else? Go ahead.
First of all, I agree 100% with the comments made by those that spoke tonight, that the last 20 years has been very ineffective. I agree with that 100%. So what do you do with a business that is poorly performing? You change the CEO. What do you do with a professional team that's poorly performing? You change the coach. In my opinion, that's exactly what this MOU is doing. It is putting things into place to change that overall opportunity to put a more effective set of guidelines, management team, board of directors, and performance indicators that have to be followed. So to me, that is the biggest thing. So we asked about, yes, we need a waste energy solution. And that was one of the main components of the original agreement. That's been evaluated by them, not to the degree that I find it satisfactory. And so that's the other key area, I believe, going forward. That will be one of the mandatory items coming out of this direction, is to mandate that. You've got a new team leading it. That'll be one of the key absolute focuses that the working group will focus on. So to me, the things that you are concerned about, we now have the opportunity to correct them. If we continue to go with the original agreement from 20 years ago, you know where we're gonna be 10 years from now? In exactly the same place with no more changes occurring. So unless we make changes today, we're gonna be in the same place, poorly performing as a landfill, as a solid waste agency 10 years from now. So I fully support the direction that we're moving in.
Councilmember Muscarian.
Yeah, thank you. As I said Tuesday, I truly believe that this process is a very real test of the exercise of regionalism in practice. I agree with my fellow council members. We don't take any action, we're continuing to kick the can down the road. I grew up in Marion. This conversation hasn't happened since before I was born. So to me, this conversation does put Marion residents first and foremost. And some of the discussion about, that Marion residents don't know about this. there is plenty of time from passing this memorandum, which just allows this working group to have these conversations and study and come up with recommendations for us to continue to have discussion with residents and communicate things out before we actually make a decision. All this does is set us up for a decision to come back. And at the end of the day, we could say, no, we don't want to do it. So all this does is allow us to have this conversation with entities with different attitude about it. Thanks.
Okay, anyone else?
I'm glad that Councilmember Harper clarified the issue on the setback. I just want to emphasize this is a very limited expansion. It's not adding to the life of the landfill. It's taking it back to where it was supposed to be under that agreement. But the life of the landfill was cut shorter because of the derecho. And so this allows it to have a limited expansion so that it can operate until its original time, but in the interim, it gives the city the opportunity, our city, the opportunity to drive change and to drive the process that was intended with the original agreement. I don't know why that original agreement didn't negotiate more ability for Marion to have more influence. It should have, but I don't know why it didn't, but we are where we are today. And we are trying to do the responsible thing because one of the speakers said it's their problem, not ours. That's not quite accurate. It's all our problem because we all have to deal with the consequence of that landfill closing and there being no plan in place of what comes next. We all have to pay higher fees. We all have to, as a region, deal with the consequence. So we're trying to be responsible, but do it in a manner that we can drive the changes that we want. By changing the governance structure to make it more inclusive of the communities in the area, so that one city is not controlling it. And by mandating that there be a mechanism by which we actually put a plan together that's forward-looking, that is being thoughtful about where we go after the landfill closes. None of us like the landfill any more than anyone else who spoke tonight. But we're looking at all the options of where we go from here, and doing nothing is not an option. It's not a good option for any of us or any community in the region, and especially Marion. We are just trying to be collaborative and make the changes necessary to put together that mechanism of what happens after the landfill closes. That's our goal. And as others have stated, nothing is being decided about expansion this evening. This is just putting together that working group and setting a process in motion that if we are satisfied at the end of the day, then we have the ability to make that decision and to offer the expansion. And it's a very limited expansion. It doesn't take it on for decades. And someone said we're putting it on our great grandchildren. None of that is true. It takes it to the 2044 original time limit. Okay, I just want to give the city manager an opportunity to comment if he does have anything or.
Thank you, Your Honor. I think the comments that the council provided was everything I was going to cover. Just to summarize, this only commits the city of Marion to participating in the working group discussion with the regional partners. That is the first and the first step. Certainly everything else cascades from there, but the only thing that this does is establishes a working group with the other communities to do the research on the national best practices for governance, ensuring that, and kind of looking at the representation across the region. And as kind of Councilman Harper noted that there's a lot of requirements in terms of milestones, diversion goals, performance metrics. Those are all things that would be considered as well.
And it's accurate to say that the settlement agreement remains in place. The only thing that could happen in the settlement agreement is an amendment that would allow the expansion by 450 feet.
That's correct.
Okay,
Yeah, this, the MOU specifically says this agreement does not supersede, replace, or abrogate the settlement in any manner. It does stipulate that the parties agree that portions of the settlement agreement may need to be amended as necessary to effectuate the provisions. If all those things that are spelled out take place. So the working group does research, if all the entities agree on that governance structure, the agency agrees to appoint, and that appointment takes place. There's a commitment to the host fee for the city of Marion. If all of those things, and then only if those occur, and after council consideration, if the council considers and if they approve, then such time that it will be amended. But this does nothing to amend the settlement agreement. Again, it doesn't authorize a setback reduction. It simply only helps to establish a working group.
I think there's one key aspect that needs to be considered, and that is, I'm sure there's a lot of people, when they look at the landfill and this 2036 date, that, well, gee, when it fills up in 2036, we'll just cite another landfill. So, Ryan, would you address that aspect in Lynn County? Can another landfill be cited in Lynn County?
But the answer is no. This is in the materials, but I think back in precise date, the city council at one of their meetings in February of last year appointed a landfill subcommittee, which comprised of the mayor, Councilman Jensen, and Councilman Harper, supported by staff. As part of the research, we talked to our consultant to gather information on that. It was confirmed that there's the ability to site a landfill in Lynn County is impossible. And in fact, that citing a landfill within the state of Iowa is amounts to an uphill battle as is. So in terms of the challenges that exist for availability, those are significant. Sorry, the thought I had escaped me.
well, which brings up another point that I intended to make. I do agree with, one of the comments that this is really an issue for the state to solve. And I've always believed that it is an issue for the state to solve. This is something that needs to be solved at the state level to make it easier to site landfills. And that could be part of the action plan that's working group. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. That was actually the thought that escaped me, and that is that, the city of Marion, we have a lobbyist and we're very active with, the legislature. That was one of the things that we have, communicated to the state, as recently as last year, that when the state is looking through consolidation efforts, that, waste management is truly a state thing that should be looked at and see if there's opportunities to create some efficiencies, economies of scale, because one of the things that we've heard, Joe from the agency is here, is presented before the council before, as they've looked at different technology. One of the things that is a hindrance to our region is the volume of waste, and we do need a certain volume of waste for some of these technologies to be cost effective. And so that is one of those comments that we have shared with the state to look at.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and so one of the recommendations that I anticipate coming out of the working group is the very issue of very aggressively engaging with the state, all of the state level stakeholders to address the constraints that exist today. And, you know, to really on a much broader basis, drive a greater regional activity than versus just within Lynn County. And for the purposes of then giving us this economy of scale to entertain alternate processing technologies that just in and of ourselves is not possible. So that is one of the outputs that I think is going to be essential to the working group, is to have that legislative state agency engagement to see what improvements can be made in order to drive hyper-regionalism, if you will, in order to reduce just putting waste in the ground, because that I think is the stated objective of many people. So sorry, Your Honor, and usually our city manager says everything much more concisely than I do.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of approving resolution number 32724, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. The motion is approved.
May I move to approve resolution number 32727, approving the installation of a deep sign at the intersection of.
Sorry about that.
I was gonna say, you gonna have time for public input on any of these, or you just gonna read them and approve them? I haven't heard anybody say, does anybody have any input in like that?
Sir, that's what the public comment section was for.
This is a public comment section.
We're done with the public comment section.
On, you're gonna tell me that on
Sir,
number 3275, you cannot have any input? Yeah.
sir, I would ask you very respectfully to not interrupt the meeting.
What?
I'm asking you very respectfully to not interrupt the meeting.
Sir, I said I have hearing aid problem, I cannot hear or understand what you're saying.
I'm asking you respectfully to not interrupt the meeting. Thank you.
With all due respect, Your Honor, do you or do not have an opportunity to speak on these items?
Mayor, would you like,
Yes, no,
Why?
Mayor, would you like, we have our officers here. If you'd like, I mean, you've stated the rules, you've gone over the rules. We can certainly have a conversation.
I will just reiterate the rules one more time. There was a public comment section during which the public was invited to speak on any topic that's on the agenda. And that was the time to make comments, and you, sir, had about 10 minutes or more to speak. Out of, when there was 5 minutes, everyone in this room had a chance to speak during the public comment section. And now this is the time for actual consideration by the council and voting by the council.
And what's it for?
Sir,
All of these
That's,
things, you list them, but you don't tell the citizens.
I will
what
have,
they are.
I will have someone explain what the amount is for after the resolution is made, after the
That's not
motion
fair.
is made, sir.
Your Honor, you're.
Okay, I would ask someone to please remove him from the meeting. It's unfortunate we have to do that.
That's put me out. Yeah. We better pull your gun. And Vietnam veteran bench, got at, got run over.
Okay, we're gonna have a short recess.
Take care of it.
We're gonna recess the meeting for a few minutes.
I cannot believe it. All right, look at my question. That's mine if you don't mind. Thank you very much. I might have sworn you in, but it's over from here. Everybody I sworn in is tired. Very well.
Nice timing, Kara. Nice timing. I came back just in time. I'm gonna start. I'm gonna go with that. I'm not wait, you're normally go.
Okay, well, follow.
Alicia's using the restroom really quick.
Okay. Go ahead. Okay, we'll call the meeting back to order. Appreciate everyone's patience. We'll go back to the resolution. Mr. Egan, you make that motion again, please.
May I move to approve the resolution number 32725, approving a grant and memorandum of understanding with the Marion Historical Society.
Second. Been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 32725, approving a grant and memorandum of understanding with the Marion Historical Society. Discussion. Can we have our finance director tell us what the grant is, please? Okay. For the members of the public, please.
This grant is for the Marion Historical Society to replace the HVAC or the furnace at their Marion Heritage location here in Marion. And for the benefit of the public, all of our historical artifacts for the city of Marion, we have named Marion Heritage, Marion Historical Society as the official caretaker of those items. So it's very important that that historical building and the contents within the historical building are maintained.
Thank you. And they had the unfortunate circumstance of all three furnaces needing replacement at the same time and asked for assistance with that, so we determined that it was, as the finance director just stated, that that was a worthy purpose for us to use some of our historic preservation dollars that we had set aside. Oh, no, I'm sorry, hotel motel dollars that we had set aside to assist with that project. Okay, any discussion from council? All those in favor of approving resolution number 22725, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. The motion is approved.
Mayor, I move to approve ordinance number 26-02, amending chapter 218, the Marion Code of Ordinances relating to the noise exemptions, and this is the initial consideration.
Second. We'll move in second to approve ordinance number 26-02. Amending chapter 218 of the Code of Ordinances relating to noise exemptions. This is the first consideration. Any discussion? All those in favor of ordinance number 26-02, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. The motion is approved. Next item is a public comment period regarding the request to move no parking restrictions from the east side of Vaughan Lane to the west side of Vaughan Lane. We'll open the public comment period and ask for a presentation from our city engineer.
Yes, Your Honor. So as you can see in the exhibit, the existing no parking signs are on the east side of the road. On the east side of Vaughan Lane, there are no driveways. And so this request is to move the parking to the other side of the road that has the driveways, therefore allowing for more parking on Vaughan Lane. And the staff recommendation is in support of this, but we will open up to the public for those that would like to give their feedback.
Okay. The public comment period is open. We'll ask for comments from members of the public. Please step forward. Thank you. Please state your name and address.
My name is Ron Schmidt. I live on 35th Avenue in Marion. And I'm part of a condominium association, which is a village at Prairie Knolls. And Vaughan Lane is completely enclosed in our condominium association. I want to thank the city for approving our petition. We had quite a few people sign that. And as in my petition, as it's stated, it's going to help in the removal of the garbage. People that live on the east side of Vaughan Lane, they also park on Vaughan Lane. So it's going to reduce the congestion, especially when you guys come through their garbage pits. Again, thank you very much for approving that petition.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else to address council on this item, please come forward. Did you receive comments outside the meeting?
The comments shown were received outside of the meeting. Arlene Lee wrote in support of the recommendation. Ann T wrote in support of the recommendation. Kim Schmidt wrote in support of the recommendation. Tyler Martin wrote in opposition of the recommendation and asked the measure be tabled until the full impact of the decision can be determined.
Okay, and those were all comments we received. Please note that for the record, and we'll close that. We'll close the public comment period, and then proceed to the motion, and then we can ask questions of our staff. Mr. Brand.
Mayor, I make a motion to receive and file traffic advisory committee report regarding the request to move no parking restrictions from the east side of Vaughan Lane to the west side.
Second.
Moved and seconded. To receive and file the traffic advisory committee report regarding the request to move no parking restrictions from the east side to the west side of Vaughan Lane. Any discussion on receiving and filing the report? Yes.
Mayor, I think if you go, Alicia, if you go back to the comments, I think one of those pertains to item D10. The gentleman who was opposed. Tyler Martin. I believe his refers to 35th Avenue between London Lane and 35th Street.
Yes, we have his comments coming up. He spoke, in opposition of full.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Okay, we're on the topic of receiving and filing the report. Any discussion on receiving and filing? All those in favor of receiving and filing the traffic advisory committee report, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Motion is approved.
Yes, Your Honor, I move to approve resolution number 32726, approving the removal of no parking signs and restrictions from the east side of Bond Lane and place them on the west side. Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 32726, approving the removal of the no parking signs and restrictions from the east side of Long Lane and placing them on the west side of Long Lane. Now, discussion on the resolution. I would like to ask the gentleman who had opposition and said that we should hold off until the full impact of the decision is considered. What, do you know what he's referring to?
Yeah, so I pulled his comments back up. From what I understand, he's concerned about larger vehicles parking there because there's not the driveways to impede longer vehicles, with say trailers. We do have ordinances already in effect where if a vehicle is parked, I believe it's more than 24 hours, PD can be dispatched and address that. So I personally do not see it as an issue. If it becomes an issue, we address it just like we do on any other street.
Other questions for Mike or discussion? Okay, all those in favor of approving resolution number 32726, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Okay, the measure has been approved. The next item is the public comment period on the request to install a dip sign at the intersection of South 15th Street and Daleview Drive, and a no outlet sign at South 15th Street and Pleasant View Drive. We'll open the public comment period and ask for the report.
Yeah, sorry, the pictures got mixed up, so we don't have the proper location. But this is requesting the dip as when the intersection was poured, when you drive over it on the non-stop control, you do feel that. So we have that in other locations such as 6th Street for north-south bound traffic. And then basically adding the no outlet sign. And again, we've done that before in other locations. If they're not a local and they think that they can maybe get to Highway 100, they might be trying to cut through that street. So just helping to eliminate some of that cut through traffic that can't actually cut through. So again, we are in concurrence with both motions.
Okay, thank you. The public comment period is now open. If anyone is here to address council on this measure, please come forward. Okay, no one's coming forward, so before we close the public comment period, we'll ask if there were any comments outside the meeting.
Yes, Your Honor, Matt Weber wrote in support of the recommendation. No other comments were received.
Okay, note that for the record. We'll close the public comment section and proceed to the motions. Here I can say.
Mayor, I move to receive and file a traffic advisory committee report regarding installation of a dip sign at the intersection of South 15th Street and Daleview Drive and no outlet sign at South Street, Pleasant View Drive.
Second.
So moved and seconded to receive the file the traffic advisory committee report regarding installation of the dip sign at the intersections of 7th and 15th Street and Daleview Drive, and a no outlet sign at South 15th Street and Pleasant View Drive. Discussion on receiving and filing the report. All those in favor of receiving and filing the report, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Motion is approved.
May I move to approve resolution number 32727? Approving the installation of a deep sign at the intersection of South 15th Street and Delphi Drive, and there's no other sign at South 15th Street and Delphi Drive.
Second.
So moved and seconded to approve resolution number 32727. All those in favor? Oh, I'm sorry, discussion?
Your Honor,
Yes.
just as a frequent commuter of that street and a frequent cutter through of it. Do want to confirm that there is a dip in that area, and the sign would be helpful, because I still forget sometimes. That's all.
So we'll call it the given ordinance.
That's good idea.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor of approving resolution number 32727, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. The motion is approved. Next item is a public comment period on the request to install 25 miles per hour speed limit signs on 35th Avenue between Lennon Lane and 35th Street. We'll open the public comment period and ask for the report, please.
Yes, Your Honor. This image is correct. So they're asking, so this section of 35th Avenue west of 35th Street is 25 mile an hour. When you cross that boundary, there is no sign from 35 to 25. And then also if you're coming from Tower Terrace into that residential neighborhood, there's no sign there either. So based on the classifiers that we put out there, seeing the speeds that are out there, we are recommending that it be signed so that people realize that they're leaving what higher speed to a lower speed and entering a neighborhood. So we are recommending both a sign on Lennon Lane and the sign west of 35th. So we're not changing anything other than adding signs. So we're not actually changing the speed.
Right, okay,
And so that is our recommendation.
okay. Public hearing is now open. We'll ask for comments from members of the public on this measure. Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Kim Schmidt. My address is 3419 35th Avenue in Marion. And I was the initiator of this petition, so I thought I should come and speak in support of it. I want to thank the Traffic Council for agreeing that we do need some traffic signs at this street. I would have preferred that the sign that they plan to put on Lennon Lane off Tower Terrace be put at the other end of 35th Avenue, because I'm not sure how many vehicles come off of Tower Lane and go up our street to the school. And that's where we are having a problem with parents rushing to get their kids to school in the morning or in the evening rushing to get home. So that being said, I still thank the council for approving this recommendation, and I would ask that you also approve it. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else to address council on this measure, please come forward. Okay, seeing no one's coming forward, we'll ask for comments that were received outside the meeting.
Yes, Your Honor. Barb Edinburgh wrote in support of the recommendation. Gaya Myla wrote in support of the recommendation. Kim Schmidt wrote in support of the recommendation, and Tyler Martin wrote in support of the recommendation. No additional comments were received.
Okay. We'll note those for the record. We'll close the public comment period and proceed to the motions.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to receive and file the Traffic Advisory Committee report regarding the installation of 25 mile per hour speed limit signs on 35th Avenue between Lennon Lane and 35th Street.
Second. So moved and seconded to receive and file the Traffic Advisory Committee report regarding installation of 25 mile per hour speed limit signs on 35th Avenue in Lennon Lane and 35th Street. Any discussion on receiving and filing the report? All those in favor of receiving and filing the report, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. The motion is approved.
Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 32728, approving the installation of 25 mph speed limit signs for westbound traffic on 35th Avenue, just west of 35th Street, and for southbound traffic on Lennon Lane, south of Tower Terrace Road.
Second.
So moved in second to approve resolution number 32728. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving resolution number 32728, please signify by saying aye. All those opposed, please say no. The motion has been approved. Next item is a public comment period on the request to install 25 mph speed limit signs on Peridot Drive between Brookside Drive and Gemstone Road. Do we have the presentation, please?
Yes, Your Honor. So this is just north of the area that we just talked about now on the other side of Tower Terrace Road. This is an established residential neighborhood. Once again, we did put the classifiers out there, but in this case, we found that the speeds were much lower. So in one instance for southwestbound traffic, it had a average speed of 24 miles per hour, a mode speed of 20 miles per hour, and an 85th percentile of 29.5. For northeastbound, it had an average speed of 23 miles per hour, a mode speed of 20 miles per hour, and an 85th percentile of 28.97 miles per hour. So in this case, we are not recommending adding the signs because people are already behaving how they should be.
Okay, we can ask our questions when we get into the motion, but at this time, if anyone has any comments, any member of the public, please come forward. Welcome.
Welcome. My name is Cheryl Baranowski. I'm at 3901 Peridot Drive. And we have no speed limit signs in our entire subdivision or even on the other side. So we're just trying to let people know that it is 25 miles an hour, not the 35 that's on Tower Terrace or any of the other roads by us. There are just no speed limit signs anywhere in not just our HOA, but on the HOA on the other side also. So we do have some speeders, but we do, there's just no knowledge, no way to know. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else to address council, please come forward. Will we receive comments outside the meeting?
Yes, Your Honor. Jim Lingo wrote, expressing concerns with speeding from service vehicles and from students. No other comments were received.
Okay, we'll note that for the record. We'll close the public comment period and proceed to the motion.
Yes, Your Honor. I move to receive and file the Traffic Advisory Committee report regarding a request to install 25 mph speed limit signs on Peridot Drive between Brookside Drive and Gemstone Road.
Certainly. Moved and seconded to receive and file the Traffic Advisory Committee report regarding the request to install 25 mph speed limit signs on Peridot Drive between Brookside Drive and Gemstone Road. Any discussion on receiving and filing the report? Okay, all those in favor of receiving and filing the Traffic Advisory Committee report, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. The motion is approved.
Mayor, I move to concur with the traffic advisory committee recommendations for Peridot Drive not install additional signage.
Second.
So moved and second, concur with the Traffic Advisory Committee recommendations for Peridot Drive and to not install additional signage. Now, discussion, my question is, did this come forward, obviously through a petition from the neighborhood?
Yes, sir.
And how many people signed it?
We had 20 signatures on it.
20.
Yep.
Okay. And, what's the downside to installing a sign?
Just sign pollution, all residential streets within the city of Marion are 25 mile an hour per ordinance. There's a lot of streets that we don't have signed, and so it's just another sign to install and maintain. But if council feels that this should be installed, obviously you can modify our recommendation.
Any discussion? Other discussion, go ahead. Yeah.
I want to rewind just a moment, Mike, to the prior item concerning the 35th. It's my understanding that on Lennon Lane, we installed a 25 mile an hour sign in order to capture traffic exiting off of Tower Terrace as they enter that. So I'm wondering if the solution to this concern is to still on, I think it's Lennon Lane still, on the north aspect of Tower Terrace, to put a 25 mile an hour sign there, which would encompass the entire Gemstone Estates development. So equivalent solution being applied there as it was on the south side.
Yeah, so if that is what city council wants, you just have to amend the motion. I'm not sure if it would need to be tabled because it's not a resolution. Here.
So, so once the motion is made, it either dies for lack of action, or it can be tabled for later, or it can be amended. Those are the options that we have at this time.
Right, so the motion has been made and seconded,
Yes.
so it's on the floor.
Yes.
And, at this point, yeah, so based on the discussion, we can either accept the motion the way it is, we can table it, or we can amend it.
Correct.
Okay, so those are the options before the council. I guess, but go ahead, we'll take all the comments first. Anyone has, go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, I basically concur with the recommendation of not putting 25 mile an hour speed limit signs on the street in mention. But if I look at this map, you got kind of the same criteria we were talking about before around Lennon Lane, that when you come off Lucor, which is 35 mile an hour, and you enter that neighborhood, is there a sign right there at that point saying 25 mile an hour? And kind of same thing to Grant's point off of Tower Terrace, entering from the south side. I mean, so that's kind of the same criteria. I don't think we need it. I agree. Sign pollution, you don't need it on every 100 yards on residential streets. I will never support that. So I don't see the need for it there, but as people maybe enter that neighborhood and they're going from 35 to 25, I would support something like that.
Councilmember Brand, my comment was going to be exactly what Steve just said, that I would concur. So there probably should be a 25 on the Lennon and on whatever road that is. You're coming off 30 or the 4.
It'd be Gemstone.
Yes, Gemstone, thank you.
So at the entrances.
The entrance, yes, but there are really only two other than Brookside, or Brookside, I would assume is already signed at 25. I don't even know.
I don't know that it's signed as a county subdivision that we annexed in, so.
Okay. So the motion on the floor remains to, not install any signage. So if anybody wants to see something different, we're gonna entertain an amendment.
Out of curiosity, would it be just amended to add the signs there instead of on this? Or would it be,
You can change it.
I was gonna say, or does it get voted down and then the next council meeting come back with?
Now, what I would recommend is I would amend to change it to a resolution to do a northbound off of Lennon and a southwest bound off of Gemstone.
Of a Gemstone off 35th.
If you wanted to change it completely, you could direct staff to bring back a resolution that you're looking for, since that would be rather than amend. I wasn't sure if you had anything specific that you wanted to go with, if we were ready at that point, but if you're gonna do that direction, then you would do a motion so that all of council could vote on that, because we probably don't want to do that unless we know there's a general concurrence to bring that back. So this is a very unusual
Right.
procedural situation.
Okay, so we're still taking discussion, is anyone, opposed to taking that direction of changing it so that the sign up at the entrances of the neighborhood?
I will.
Yeah. But let me finish what I was asking first, though, you know.
Well, it kind of goes along.
Okay, but is anyone opposed to that direction? I don't know, go ahead.
Well, kind of what I was gonna go, kind of what I brought up before, if you were to vote this down and then have staff bring something back in the future, it might be good to also have staff look and see if Brookside has something at the entrance. If Brookside needs something to be added also, which could also be put onto the motion in the future.
In that case, you may want to just make a motion for staff to do further research, directing staff to do further research on this area and signage in the area. Let me rephrase that.
Okay.
A motion directing staff to do further research in this area and then vote this motion down.
Okay, so
Vote this down.
you would vote this motion down and make a new motion to direct staff to do more work on this. Okay. Any further discussion on this motion of not installing any signage?
Sorry.
All those in favor of the motion to not install signage, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say aye. Aye. So can we do a roll call vote, please?
That's, I think that's why we're saying, we're a little confused on the right seat, but yeah, we're voting down.
If you're voting this down, but then you can make another motion to direct staff to do more work.
Correct. If you want staff to do more work, vote against this motion, vote in opposition, which we rarely do.
Can we have the roll call vote, please?
Mr. Harper,
No.
Mr. Uniman,
No.
Mr. Jensen,
No.
Mr. Miskman,
No.
Mayor Wasley,
No.
Mr. Brand.
No.
So this motion has been defeated. And now if someone would like to make a motion to direct staff to do more work on this and bring back another recommendation, this would be the time to do it.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to direct staff to further look into the situation of 25-mile-an-hour speed limit signs regarding the neighborhood around Brookside, Peridot Drive, Brookside Drive, and Gemstone Road, and that entire surrounding neighborhood.
Okay, now it's been moved and seconded to direct staff to come back with an alternative recommendation. All those, discussion on that motion? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Okay, the motion's been approved and we'll look forward to a new iteration of this at a future meeting, so. Thank you to all the residents who came and shared their comments. Next item is a public hearing regarding Marion Boulevard Bridge Approach and Deck Repair Project. You have the presentation.
Yes, Your Honor. So, Marion Boulevard Bridge goes over Indian Creek Road. If you rode it recently, you know we have a bump when you enter the bridge and a bump when you get off the bridge. And then there's deck repair that also needs to be done. So we do bridge inspections every other year. And this came up as part of those bridge inspections. So we put it out for bid to replace portions of the bridge. This is not a complete remove the bridge and put it back. This is just doing similar to what we do with our streets where we make the modifications to the bridge. So we did put this out for bid. The low bid came in from Boulder Contracting at $421,218, which was 76.6% of the engineer's estimate, as a late start of 7/6 of 26 with 50 working days and $1,000 per day and working day damages if they go above the 50 working days. So we are recommending proceeding with the project for the longevity of the bridge.
Okay. We'll hold comments or questions for Mike until we get to the motion. So, at this time, the public hearing is open. If anyone's here to address council with regard to this measure, please come forward. Okay, we'll ask the staff to receive comments outside the meeting.
No comments were received.
Okay, please note that for the record. We'll close the public hearing and proceed to the motion.
Mayor, move to approve the motion. Sorry, altogether. Mayor, move to approve the motion to approve the project calendar regarding the Marion Boulevard Bridge approach and deck repair project as follows. Resolution 32729, 32730.
Second. It has been moved and seconded to approve the project calendar for the Marion Boulevard Bridge Approach and Deck Repair Project, including resolutions 32729 through 32730. Discussion?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
So, Mike, I think you had a 50-day, work duration specified.
Yep.
Do you think it will take that long, or is that just the outer bounds, given any weather, impacts?
Sure. So those 50 days, weather days do not count. So a working day is a Monday through Friday where they can work on the controlling item of work. So for example, if it's too hot to pour concrete or too cold to pour concrete, if it's raining, then they can't pour concrete. That does not count against their 50 days. So this is not a contractor I have worked with before. So we will obviously, just like all of our contractors, will be inspecting the work as it goes. That's our estimate of how long we think it should take, giving them some flexibility because they have more than one contract. So it should be around that 50 days. Hopefully it's less.
Okay, thanks.
Go ahead.
Mike, I'm assuming the plan for this will be to keep, one lane open in each direction.
Yeah,
as
so-
the project's being worked on.
Let me just read right from the memo. So it says the project will have impacts to traffic during construction. The project will be constructed in phases to ensure one lane of traffic is operational at all times in Marion Boulevard. However, due to the proximity of the work area to Marion Boulevard and First Street traffic signals, these signals will be covered or shut off during the project, and the First Street intersection will be converted to a right in, right out during construction, and then reopen once the configuration can be managed.
Okay. Any further questions or discussion on this item? All those in favor of approving the project calendar for the Marion Boulevard Bridge Approach and Deck Repair Project, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. The motion is approved.
Mayor, I move to approve ordinance number 26-01, approving a rezoning request from TR2 traditional medium density single family residential to PUD land unit development for property located at 344 9th Street, Marion, Iowa. And this is brought by Nate Koss with Snyder and Associates on behalf of Seven Hills East LLC. And this is the final consideration.
Second.
So moved and seconded to approve final consideration of ordinance number 26-01, approving the rezoning request from traditional medium density, single family residential to planned unit development for the property at 344 9th Street. Discussion? Yes, sir.
Yeah, Nicole, I know this is just for the rezoning request, but do you have a sense of the pace, that the developer will be going, forward with on this?
We had our monthly meeting with the developer, and it was this Monday, last week. And so they're, we're at this point in the rezoning process. They continue to look at those budgetary numbers when it comes to the project. We've been talking about that brick house on the corner. They've been looking at those numbers. I think once they kind of get those finalized numbers, they're looking forward to keeping this process going. But they do have a little more work to do with those numbers regarding that brick house.
So after this point, what's the next touch point for council to weigh in on this project?
As far as the planning process goes, it would be what the preliminary site development plan as referred with the PUD. At that same time, when we see the final site development plan, in accordance with that, as well as the final plat. And that's just for that planning process when it comes to the brick. Kim wants to talk here today.
Please.
I'll just add just a little bit to what Nicole is saying. So as they pull those numbers in, so we've asked them to break down each building, each home. So like the carriage corner, or carriage house, for example, that still has some of that carriage house where they would bring the horse and the buggy in. You can actually see that brick frame in the back of that, which is the building to the back. So we've asked them to put some numbers together for that, then put some numbers together for the two brick buildings, the two-story, the west one and then the east one. And the east one is the one that is structurally deficient. So they're gonna put those numbers together. Nicole and I will review those. The other thing also is taking a look at the, having a conversation if there's grant opportunity or incentive opportunity. So when we look at those things, then we'll keep you up to speed with what we're finding and what that discussion will be. And that would be outside of anything that we would do. There would be an additional task.
Okay, so there are still opportunities after this for council to not approve the project.
Correct. When we start looking at that site layout, building elevations, if the council doesn't agree with how it's located, you could definitely not approve the project at that time, based on those elements.
Other discussion or questions? Yes.
Yeah, I just, feel free to share with the developer that at least I think there's some increasing urgency of moving forward on this. Those buildings have moved and have been sitting there for quite a period of time. They're historic. The longer they sit, they'll degrade structurally. So I'm just feeling if our objective, if developers' objective is to, help preserve those as a key part of our historical legacy. Hopefully we're not sitting here in 18 months still talking. So anyway, because it was a big deal to get those moved.
Yeah, we agree, we understand the history that is there, and Joe Hill, who is the individual owns the property, very much understands that as well. Some of the things that they're looking at is, can you, with the east building, because of the lack of structure, what would it take to make it structurally sound? So it could be that they would have to add another layer of brick to it, or 2 layers of brick to it. Just kind of depends on structurally how that will work. So those are the things that they're exploring right now. And those take a little bit of time because you have to work with the structural engineer and then you have to work with the architect. So I think the positive in all of this is that we have been meeting almost every month to get it to this point. What we're doing tonight, rezoning, is totally separate from some of the things that we're talking about here. But very much aware of the value, the historical value of these particular parcels. So we'll work through those and provide any information that we can, additional information that we can as we go along the way.
Thanks for that. Other discussion, questions? All those in favor of the final consideration on ordinance number 26-01, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Next item is our second public forum for this evening, which is a time that is set aside for comments from members of the public on any topic. If anyone's here to address the council, please come forward. I would ask that the people adhere to the public forum rules of procedure that were shared at the beginning of the meeting. If anyone would like this repeated, I can certainly do that. Anyone here to address council, please come forward. Okay, seeing no one's coming forward, we will close that part of the meeting. Proceed to council comments. So, Mr. Skinner.
Just really quick, if you're still sitting here during this meeting, thank you for coming. It's really good to see people participate in local government. Appreciate the patience tonight. Frank, always good to see you.
I had the opportunity to fill in for the mayor last night at the ribbon cutting for the new performance hall at Lidmar. So that now seats 1,200 people. It's got a balcony in it. Gorgeous, gorgeous facility. I think the thing that's incredible to me is looking at our city and our two schools. Marion just opened up its new facility that seats 750 people. They did that a year ago. And now we have this new one at Lidmar that seats 1,200. So the opportunities that our students have at those two schools for theater, dance, and music have now been elevated. So I think they have some incredible opportunities, and I thank the schools for what they did. And the students now and in the future have a fantastic time to enjoy those new performance halls.
I was looking forward to going to that ribbon cutting last night for the center across the way, but unfortunately work got in the way, so I couldn't make it. Work got in the way again tonight, so that's why I was an hour late, so I apologize, everybody. Got done what I needed.
So we learned earlier by proclamation that it's Love Your Library Month. I just want to go on the record. I will be at the library 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. to meet with anybody that has any questions or comments they want to share with a council member. Love your library and love your favorite council.
We vote on that.
We'll see how people show up. That is a good point. I want to follow up on both Councilmember Harper's and Jensen's points with the library office hours. You know, these meetings are important, and we love having people here. And it's important for people to be engaged in what their city is doing. It's good for all of us when the residents are engaged. And there are so many more ways today to do that than ever before. People can communicate with us in person. I don't think a single person on this council has ever refused a meeting with a resident. We all are on email. My policy is to return every phone call and every email within 24 hours. I think we all are very responsive. And we do these office hours weekly at the farmers markets in the summer and at the library. There's that couple hours every Saturday that residents can meet with us in person, engage with us, give us their ideas, their questions. If we can't answer the question, we direct it to the appropriate members of the staff who will follow up on it. So there are multiple ways to engage with the council to make your voice heard and your opinion known. And we appreciate that. A lot of good things have come out of those discussions and those meetings. It helps when we're all on the same page and we all understand what's going on and why we're doing it. And our city makes decisions that may not please everyone, but they're based on data, they're based on good reasoning, they're based on studies, they're based on expert opinion. And it's never what our personal opinions are. because those really don't factor into the decision making. It's well-founded decision making. So I do encourage people to seek out the office hours and, you know, I did mention the library. I do think that is really our community center, and so much happens there, and so many different types of education take place there. Libraries, you know, are not warehouses for books anymore. Lots of opportunities to engage and to learn, and they have all sorts of programs and speakers and different educational opportunities. You can walk in on a Saturday and hear a string quartet playing, or you know, there's so many opportunities there. So, which brings me to what Councilmember Jensen talked about, was the opportunity. And coincidentally, the theme of our State of the City this year is City of Opportunity. Because when I choose that theme every year, I think about where we are, or what we want, you know, maybe what we're working towards, and I do feel like progress we've made over the last decade or so is creating opportunity for people, whether it's different options for living in this community, whether it's the schools and the opportunities that are provided to students, whether it's quality of life in the parks and the plaza and uptown. And all the things that we're creating are just giving people more opportunity to have a good experience in life and to achieve whatever goals they have for themselves and their families. And so opportunity is a very good word to describe what's going on in Marion now. So thank you all for your patience with us this evening, and we'll see you next time. Meeting's adjourned.